Let's talk about creatine and how I got shredded by incorporating creatine into my regimen, how I used it to prepare for my amateur bodybuilding competitions, and how I still use creatine 6 years later for my Muay Thai kickboxing training. We're going to talk about creatine in this video coming up. Welcome back, episode 4, 15th of September 2021. Welcome back to my brand new fitness channel dedicated to giving everything back that I've learned about fitness and training that helped me get shredded for amateur bodybuilding competitions and Muay Thai kickboxing. I'm giving it all back on this brand new channel. So if you're just starting a fitness journey, a fitness transformation, particularly guys, consider subscribing. Being the second subscriber for the channel, I have 1 subscriber on this channel so far. Got to start from the bottom. Everything's got to start from the bottom. But in this video, because we're in lockdown here in Melbourne, I thought I'd make a video on creatine, talking about the most researched sports supplement in the world, actually. I made a video like this about 4 or 5 years ago on YouTube, on my other main YouTube channel. I've taken it down because I decided to remake that video for this channel. So I'm only going to go through the practical side of creatine. There's plenty of videos out there talking about the science and how it works in your body. I'm not going to bore you with that stuff today. There's over 700 published research articles on creatine that you can go and check out on examine.com or PubMed. I'm not going to bore you, but let's get into the practical stuff. And you might be thinking, if you're just starting a fitness journey, why even bother with creatine? Now, if you're just new to the gym, it's just a matter of time before you start hearing creatine getting thrown around inside the gym. Creatine essentially will help you with your performance in the gym, your lifting performance, even to a certain extent your anaerobic performance, high intensity interval training. When I do Muay Thai kickboxing training in Thailand, I take creatine with me, not this particular brand always. I'm not sponsored to make this video, just to put that out there. I actually have different brands here. But I take this stuff with me to Thailand when I'm doing 1 month or 6-week Muay Thai kickboxing training over there. Because I don't know, I feel like it helps me with my Muay Thai kickboxing performance because it's high intensity training in the Thai heat. And so if you're doing high intensity interval training, you'll find that this will probably help you with your ambitions. Now, if you're lifting in the gym, which is how I started my training years ago, it'll help you get the final 1 or 2 reps pushed through on the bench press or whatever lift you're doing. So creatine is absolutely incredible. There's plenty of research articles that back it for the performance that you'll gain in the gym and outside of the gym. So that's the main reason why you're taking creatine. There's all these other benefits as well, like brain function and things like that, which they're still trying to collect evidence on, but it's mainly for lifting inside the gym and for anaerobic performance. Over the years on my fitness website, I've had people make comments about creatine being a steroid. It's not a steroid. I just thought I'd put that out there because I know a few people are going to ask that. It's something that it's not even remotely like a steroid. It's not a performance enhancing drug at all. The one that you're looking for, guys, when you're looking for creatine at the supplement shop is creatine monohydrate. Creatine monohydrate is the most common form of creatine that you'll find in your supplement store. There are about a dozen different types of creatine that you can get: pyruvate, HCl. There's different types that you can get, water-soluble ones. But this is the most common one, and this is the one that I've been taking now for about 6 or 7 years, pretty consistently now. This is when they do all that research on creatine, that research, over 700 papers, actually, 750 research articles, is mostly conducted with creatine monohydrate. Right, so that's the one I've been taking for years. Now I'll show you, for example, these labels here. I've got 2 that I found in my cupboard. And so you'll see it on the label. It says creatine monohydrate, 5 grams, right? So this is what you're looking for when you go to your supplement store. Keep that one in mind. Creatine monohydrate. Next thing I want to talk about very quickly is how to take it. It's really, really easy. You can't go wrong with this. 5 grams per day. And you can take it for as long as you need to take it. Now, 5 grams a day is essentially just like a level teaspoon or a little scoop that it comes with. And what I like to do is I like to put it in my protein shake and just mix it up with my protein shake. And sometimes in that protein shake, I'll have a carb as well, like a banana or like maybe a quarter of a cup of oats. Because I did read some research articles which talked about creatine being able to be absorbed a little bit better into your muscles when you consume creatine with protein and a carbohydrate. You don't have to. I used to have creatine in my coffee. I used to just stir it into my coffee. I don't do that anymore. I just have my creatine with my protein shake, around 25 grams of protein, and I mix it up, and then I'll have some oats or a banana, right? So it's up to you. You can have it in a smoothie, your coffee, your choice, 5 grams a day. Another thing I want to mention, they talk about this loading phase. You'll hear about this a lot. When it comes to creatine, there's a loading phase that you should follow. You don't have to do it. What that means, by following a loading phase, it means that you'll get your creatine, muscular creatine levels in your muscles faster, right? As opposed to if you just start taking creatine, you've never taken it before, and you start by taking 5 grams a day, it'll take maybe 3 or 4 weeks for full saturation to occur in your muscle cells, muscular creatine levels to reach full saturation. Whereas if you load first, then you're going to supersaturate. You're going to get that saturation point in your muscles faster, and you're going to start to realize the benefits of creatine sooner. But you don't have to do it. It's up to you. I don't do this, right? I never did this. I still continue to take 5 grams a day, and eventually you'll reach the saturation point. It just takes a little bit longer. However, if you do decide that you want to realize the benefits of creatine faster, then you can do a loading phase, which is essentially taking 20 grams of creatine per day for around a week, 5 to 7 days. Now that 20 grams, you don't take that in one hit. You take 20 grams, split up over 4 doses thereabouts, right? So 5 grams, so 5, 5, 5, 5, you do the math, pretty basic. Split up 20 grams, if you take 20 grams all in one hit, then you'll probably get a whole lot of bloating and diarrhea and stuff like that, probably. So split up the 20 into 5, 5, 5, 5, and do that for 5 to 7 days. Or you can just do 5 grams a day, and then you'll realize the benefits of creatine in 3 or 4 weeks. That's it. Now, some people talk about weight gain, water retention with taking creatine. That is true for what they call responders. Now, I'm a responder. There's non-responders, which are people that have pretty much no effect when they take creatine, doesn't help them at all. So they're called non-responders. I'm a responder because I typically gain around 2 to 3 kilos of water weight by taking creatine. And you might think that that's a lot and that's detrimental, but it's not. It's actually very normal. And for me, when I used to do my fitness competitions, my amateur bodybuilding competitions, I would actually stop taking creatine. I can't remember exactly, maybe 3 weeks before stage. I can't remember exactly how long, but I stopped taking creatine before stage just to lose that little bit of water weight that creatine causes. So what it does, essentially draws water into the muscle cells, right? And it can cause you to feel more dehydrated, and therefore when you're taking creatine, you should just remember to hydrate more, because creatine is going to pull more water into the muscle cells. So keep that in mind. Some people do talk about cramping, right? It's one thing here, cramping or being dehydrated. So weight gain that can occur with creatine intake usually means that it's working, that you are a responder. So you should expect some kind of water retention. And as mentioned just before, with my competitions, obviously this is not really going to be of any use to most of you watching this, but for the 3% of you that might be interested in going and competing sometime in the future, then you're not going to be taking creatine several weeks before stepping on the stage. I didn't. Last 2 things, cycling on and off. Some people will say you need to cycle off creatine, as in you need to stop taking it for a few weeks and then get back on it again. No, you don't have to. You can continue to take creatine forever and a day. I've taken creatine consistently for months on end. And then if I'm going on trips, traveling overseas, then I don't take it. Sometimes I take it with me. If I'm doing training trips like Muay Thai kickboxing trips, I'll take creatine with me. and I'll continue to take it, but you don't have to cycle off creatine at all. And also micronized. Now, I mentioned this one specifically because some people experience bloating with taking creatine. And if that's the case, you can get, as I mentioned, the micronized form of creatine that's going to help reduce any bloating you might have. So I take the micronized form of creatine monohydrate micronized. And the last one is hair loss. Now, this was something that came up on my fitness blog a few times years ago. People talked about, hair loss and taking creatine. Now, there was like a study that was done on football players or something. I can't remember exactly. I'd have to look it up. I read about it years ago, right? So if you have some kind of like family history of balding, then yeah, maybe you shouldn't take this. Maybe you should do some more research on creatine and balding if you've got a family history of it. Otherwise, for me, I don't have any history of, I've got the opposite problem. I have to get a haircut every month or so, but I don't have any history of balding. I've been taking creatine now for 6 years, 7 years, pretty consistently. I've had breaks, but pretty consistently, and I haven't lost any hair. So that's only really an issue if you've got a history of balding in the family. Otherwise, if you have any questions, please let me know. This is a super quick video, but always remember that, make sure your nutrition and your training is down first, because creatine on its own is not going to help you get shredded. It's going to be your diet, and it's going to be your training, and then creatine is going to be the icing on the cake. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the future.